In the last video, the chapter 5 on basics of programming, we talked about immutable and mutable data types in Python, and we discussed in detail what are the various data types under each of the mutable and immutable types. We also compared various sequence types such as list, set, tuple, and dictionary. However, based on the popular demand from the viewers and with an understanding that we need to discuss in detail more on the sequence data types in Python, in this video we are going to understand how to work with strings in Python. I am Saurav Agarwal, you are watching Datahat. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to subscribe so that you never miss a video on Python for data science. Let us continue. Now, talking of strings, what are strings? Strings are basically, let me just use a pencil, str1 is a sequence of characters. Okay, these are characters, each individual is a character, and a sequence of characters is a string. Okay, so basically Python does not require a separate data type for characters, it directly uses strings. Okay, even if you have to store just one character, say str2a, it will store it as a string to make things simpler. Always try to keep things as simple as possible. Now, let us understand the different ways by which we can create string. So, there are primarily two ways. One is using single quotes and the other is using double quotes. Now, a third and a special type is used for multi-line strings. Okay, let us quickly head over to VS Code and see how the different types of strings are created and if there is any difference between them. So, str1 we create is in single quotes hello, str2 we shall create using double quotes. Now, if you see when I print str1 and str2, there would be no fundamental difference. Now, if you haven't watched the video on how to set up Python in Visual Studio Code, make sure to check the video in the I link above. Now, quickly let us run this. We shall first open a terminal, new terminal, and you know how to execute it. We shall type Python and give the file name string in Python. You see, both str1 and str2 print hello. There is no difference when using single quotes or double quotes in Python. But then why do we use both single quotes and double quotes? For this, let us understand using again our notes. Okay. So, here we see, let us for example, if I want to store a string, it's very hot. This is the string that I want to store. If I store it in a string str3 and I am using single quotes, what do you think would be the output? Okay, let me know in the comments if you know the output. If not, let us see quickly. Now, let us create another string. This is str3. Before that, let me comment this str1 and str2. Okay, now str3 would contain it is very hot. Now, as you see, the Visual Studio Code is underlying this very part with a red line. This is an indication that it is generating some kind of error. And to see what the error output would be, let us quickly print this up. Let me print str3. Even if you don't print and just execute, the error message would be displayed. See, it says in this line str3, it's very hot. There is an error, which the error is invalid syntax. Why? When you are using a single quote and then again using a single quote for an apostrophe, you are closing the string and there is no corresponding match for the other single quote. Now, there are two ways you can deal with this. In other programming languages, you would ideally use a escape sequence. Now, what is an escape sequence? Escape sequence is just denoted using a backslash, which tries to deal with certain special characters by making them included in the string. For example, this apostrophe will now be considered as an apostrophe and not a single quote for this string. We shall discuss about escape sequences in detail. I will additionally provide a link in the description, you can check it out. Okay. Now in Python there is another way to deal with this, but before that let me print with it. Print using the escape sequence. You see it is printing, it's very hot. You see this this apostrophe is treated as an apostrophe and not a single quote for the string. Now if you do not want to use this escape sequence, or you're not very comfortable with escape sequences, you can enclose this very string in a double quote. Now this gives you an advantage that you can use a single quote within a double quote in strings in Python, and that is the primary advantage. Let me again execute this. You see it's very hot. The same statement is repeated again. It is printed again without any error message. So we know what is the purpose of using both single quotes and double quotes in Python. Now the third type of creating a string in Python is for multi-line strings. What if you want to, let us again head over to our notepad section. We'll keep moving between notepad and our VS Code to make things simpler and to help you understand the things easily. Okay. Now here, let me go down a bit. Say you want to print, your string is hello, I am Saurav. How are you doing? This is the string that you want to print. What if you give this string to a variable in a single quote? Let us give this str4 is equals to hello, I am Saurav. How are you doing? Now you see again this error message is arriving because using double quotes or using single quotes does not simply allow you to have multi-line strings. In order to have multi-line strings, what you need to do, you need to use triple quotes. How will that be? Let me remove this double quotes and okay, give 3 quotes. You see there are 3 double quotes at the starting and 3 double quotes at the ending. You can give 3 single quotes as well, that would not make any difference. Python treats single quotes and double quotes in a similar manner. Okay, now if you print this string, you see the format of this string would totally be preserved. See the format hello, I am Saurav, and in the next line how are you doing is getting printed. Okay, so this is the advantage of using multi-line strings in Python. Very good. So far you understood how to create strings using single quotes, double quotes, the use of single and double quotes, and multi-line strings. Now the next important thing that you need to know about any sequence type is indexing. We shall look at indexing in string. Let us consider a string S, which is hello world. Okay, this is my string. Now I will create a table to help you understand the indexing. Python has two types of indexing, or two ways in which Python allows indexing. One is positive indexing and the other is negative indexing. I'll show you both of them. Now as you see, we have put our characters in these boxes to help things easier for you to understand. Now what I'm going to do, now indexing in Python starts from 0. Okay, starting index for the positive, for positive. So we will start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. And the negative index starts from -1, but it starts from the right side or from the end of the string. So it will be let me change the color, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Now this is how the indexing is denoted in strings. Now what if you want to print a character, say you want to print this O. Okay, you want to print this O. In order to print this O, what you will do, you will do the string str within the square brackets, you will give its index. You can give either the positive index, which is the 4, or you can give the negative index, which is the -6. Let us head over to the VS Code and see how this works. Now here we took a string hello world and we are printing s of 4. We are giving a space in between to keep the things separate, and we are also printing with the index negative -6. Let us see what is the output. You see it is printing O space O, which is our desired character. Okay. Now what if you want to print a substring? Okay, substring. Again we shall head over to our notepad and then see how to find it. Now what does a substring mean? Say our string was hello world. You want to print a part of this string, say LOW, low. You want to print this low. Now from our indexing we know that this L starts at 3 and this W starts at 5. Okay, ends at W is at 5 and L is at 3. We shall see substring both from positive indexing and negative indexing, but just understand that this L starts at 3 and W is at 5 and we want to print low. Okay, so this is 3, this is 5. Now substring works as, again you use a square bracket. There are 3 different elements to a substring, right? Let me make it more clear. I'll use a separate color. So there are 3 parts. This first part denotes the start index. This second part denotes the end index plus 1, and this last part denotes the step. So say for instance you wanted to print L O, you had this string HELLO and you wanted to print every alternate character. Say you want to print this, then this, then this. So your jump here is 2. You are printing with a jump of 2. So now you understand the importance of a jump or the step here. Let us print low, which we are initially trying. So our starting index will be 3. It starts. The ending index would be the end index plus 1, that is the 5 plus 1, which is 6. And we can skip the step if by default the step is 1 default. Okay, so if you don't give a step, it will assume that it is 1. Now if you go over to a VS section, VS code, and let us print s of 3:6. Let us see what it prints. I'll comment this out and execute this. So it is printing low. The same thing if you want to print using a negative index. So let us see where this negative indexing starts for L. So this negative indexing starts for L at -7 and ends at -5. Okay. So if we are to print this, we will type s of -7 to -5 plus 1, that is -4. Okay. Now in our VS code, we shall print s of -7 -4. See, it is printing low. Okay. Now very important thing that I want to tell you. If you want to print the reverse of any string, okay, the same string, for instance this low, if you want to print it in reverse order, for example we want to print WOL. So how we are going to do it? Remember our starting is at now our starting would be at 5 and our ending would be at 3 because we are printing it in reverse. So let us see first of all how this would work. We will print s of 5. Now end index would be, just understand this, end index is our 3 here, but here we would take end index -1 because we are printing in the reverse. So it would be 2 and we would specify a step of -1 because we are going one step back every time. Let us print this. Print s of 5:2:-1. See, it prints whole. The same thing can be done with a negative index. You will print s of. So there is an additional information that I want to provide you, is that if by default you do not give this left parameter, okay, this left element, so it will consider it from that very end. For here, for example, in this hello world, if you do not specify this 3, it will consider it from 0. For -7, it will consider it from the leftmost end, right? So this is one of the advantages in Python. Now there are two additional functions that I want to show you. One is the upper and the lowercase. These functions become very important. Print, we had the string s dot upper, right? And another is s dot lower. You won't see the effect of s dot lower because it converts into lowercase and our string is already in lowercase. Let me take another string. Okay, let me take a string s2 which is both in uppercase as well as in lowercase. You see h and w are in uppercase and rest are in lowercase. Now I will do s2 dot upper and s2 dot lower. Let us see the output. I'll comment these out. I don't want this information now. See, it is printing capital letters, all capital letters for s2 dot upper and all lowercase letters for s2 dot lower. So hope you now have a better understanding of how strings work in Python. You would be able to create and manage strings, index them, take substrings, and always remember that strings in Python are immutable types. Whenever you modify a string, it does not happen in place. It gets located to a new memory location, or rather a new string is created in the place. Okay, now hope you had a smooth learning experience. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you like the video. See you in the next lecture. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Jai Hind. Have a smooth learning experience.